Excuse me, sir. I think there's been a mistake. I know it's detention, but I don't think I belong in here.
John Hughes obviously drew a lot of poetic inspiration from Molly's performances, and at some point he lets her take over the character. But it's a really innovative bit of casting in Breakfast Club because he's having her play somebody who would have been friends with Carolyn in 16 Candles. Like, she's in. She's popular, she's rich, she has sushi for lunch, and yet she's extremely vulnerable.
If Molly wasn't written in such a way in The Breakfast Club, and her background wasn't written in such a way, I wouldn't know what to draw from, basically. He gave the roadmap to the look. So she's a prissy girl. First I wanted her to be like the rich little girl in pink and a little beret and, you know, the diamond earrings, the little studs and little short skirt. And that was kind of, she was edgier than that. So then we went into that Ralph Lauren kind of straight wrap skirt with the boot, and it had attitude. Her clothes had an attitude. She had attitude.
Now Molly, in front of her father, gives me an earring. So she's going to have to, she's choosing that road for herself, which is quite wonderful. Because she and Daddy are not going to get along the next day. It's going to be good for me. So I'm okay with that.
I think that Molly gets really unfairly tarred with really owning that character in Breakfast Club too much. I mean, I think she was doing a lot of acting, and she brought a lot of herself to it. But Molly is very, very intuitive and subtle person, and she played that character to the hilt.
Molly was just beyond her years. It never made any sense that Molly was, what was she, 16 when we were doing it. Melly never seemed like she was 16, ever. She's just beyond being a teenager, or she was back then, and now she's, you know, well, I felt like she grew into herself in her 30s. It's sort of like Molly was always 30, you know? And it never felt with Molly like, oh, Molly's, you know, 5 years younger or whatever it was than the rest of us and still in school. It just seemed like, why is Molly in school, you know, like that.
She is very shy. And she was throughout the making of those films. I mean, there's a certain, just a quietness, you know. She kind of remains a little bit at a distance, but it's natural to her. It's not like an air, you know. It's nothing that she's putting on in a way. She had like really interesting eclectic tastes that weren't necessarily like a Southern California teenager that you would expect, you know.
What's that?
Sushi.
Sushi?
Rice, raw fish, and seaweed.
In retrospect, you think back about, okay, that's raw fish for 4 hours sitting in a classroom. That's got to be nice. It's so great because we have time off, and at lunch I'm like cruising around. Who can I fuck with?
When Judd came into the audition for The Breakfast Club, probably heard the story, but he just came like the way you saw him in the film. I mean, he was like in the jacket, he had the gloves, he had the ball, he had the boots, the fuck you attitude, the whole thing.
I'm getting a little rambunctious, I think, in the waiting room outside, and the receptionist called for security. And so the elevator doors are opening with security just as someone opens the door from the side and goes, Judd Nelson? I go, yeah, okay, yeah, it's me. So I go in and so it's like, I was a little bit adrenalized, I would say. I'm almost like, yeah, okay, costume getting.
When Judd walked in, he just had this sort of method, he had made this sort of method choice to just be like, I am Bender, and one of you guys are gonna fucking figure it out.
It's risky. It's a risky way to do it, but it just seemed to, you know, certain roles, it's gonna be hard for them to believe that you can pull it off if you're not already pulling it off.
With Judd Nelson's character, I mean, there was a point. If he came in the black leather jacket and the, too obvious. You know, here he's wearing flannel, he's wearing a t-shirt underneath, he's got layers, he's got his boots that look horrible, he's got his awful pants, and that tweed overcoat. All his stuff was basically recycled. You make it look like it's been lived in, loved in, and his particular character totally works. People wanted that coat. People wanted to look like him. His attitude was perfect.
I like that other people started wearing the clothes because my mother had been giving me a hard time for a long time. What's with the boots? What, tying the shirt around your waist? Tuck it in, tie your shoelaces. It's like, Mom. She's like, you're a bad example. Kids are gonna fall. It's like, well, or better than being pushed, I guess, you know.
The Seattle Sound copied the grunge look of Judd Nelson in The Breakfast Club, okay? That was him.
That was a changing moment for me because I did go out and buy a trench coat, you know, and I put pins on it and I grew my hair and I wanted to get my ear pierced so some girl would give me her earring. In the way that I think I related to Andy's character as who I was, in that film, Judd Nelson was who I kind of wanted to be. It's a really great performance, and again, it probably affected a lot of kids the way it affected me. You walk out of that experience a changed person.
The Breakfast Club actually does get pretty heightened. It gets pretty melodramatic. I mean, at one point, like, Bender is like pacing through the library doing like a monologue about being beaten. You know, it's not super subtle, but it's effective, and I think that's why people love that movie, is because it's not afraid to go there.
I think he had to be big in order to come across as the rebel. His performance is a little bit bigger and more showy than everyone else's, but it needed to be.
See, this is what you get in my house when you spill paint in the garage.
All those moments where he's tearing up the book and the door slams and he curses at Paul Gleason when he leaves.
Fuck you!
Or him just openly being defiant. Everything builds up to the moment where Molly Ringwald kisses him on the neck.
Why'd you do that?
'Cause I knew you wouldn't.
That redeemed him completely in some way. He's, for the first time, completely not really sure what to do. He can't do anything. He can't tear anything apart or yell or curse. He's completely disarmed.
And then she gives me a gift, which is interesting. And I like that John has me take it. Because theoretically, after my big speech about, you know, buying stuff, am I going to be so, you know, no, take it. Don't be an ass. If for no other reason than, you know, can talk to her, you know, Monday, maybe.
I watched that movie, and I still love that movie, and I still love to dislike that guy. And I think Judd Nelson has had to bear that cross all these years. You know, I think people still strongly identify him in that role.
I like that they respond well to that character, and I like that I was able to serve John's material. But it is strange that then I'm confused with that guy.
He's really a funny guy. He, very unlike his character. Super cool, so funny. You know, when I look back at my career, like, certain people that stand out, and Downey was one of the funniest ones. You know, Judd is another one of the funniest guys I've worked with. Great, great spirit.
Well, I love Judd. I mean, Judd is geniusly funny, you know, really verbal. He's a real unusual character, Judd. He's just who he is. And I was really close to him back then because then, during Breakfast Club, I just thought he was fantastic. And then we got to do St. Elmo's Fire, and then we did this movie that ended up being disastrous, but it was Blue City. I just, you know, we're just really comfortable with each other.
And Judd definitely came ready in that role. I mean, he had a great passion and a focus then, because he knew he had landed a great role, you know, and he delivered.
Hughes writes this thing where the girl's gonna rub her head to make the dandruff fly out like snow over this beautiful drawing that she's done just with a pen. We learned so much about the girl then.
Ha! Eat shit.
Allison was pretty exactly how I felt in high school. Allison is a part of me. I mean, that she didn't have to come from anywhere. I didn't have to find her.
She comes in this sort of coiled shell of a woman, young woman, and you know, she has these like burning looks at people. You know, she's an incredible actress. She's great.
And that's an incredible performance as well. Allie is she's so gifted, man.
Is it bad? Real bad? Parents?
Yeah.
What did they do to you?
They ignore me.
Yeah.
When they ignore you, you're not even there. These are her parents. That's the closest family unit. So Allie was so wonderfully damaged. It's just like, she's so great. Allison, man, what a role.
I knew what I wanted her to look like because in high school there wasn't really any goth stuff going on at all. I think that came after Breakfast Club, like further along. But there were these girls that I really thought were incredibly hip and cool, and they were all the really pale-looking girls who hung out in coffee houses and listened to beat poetry, you know. I thought that was really amazing. That's what I wanted Allison to look like. I really wanted that. And he let me do it. I mean, it was super pale and black eyeliner, and that's it, you know. Done, over and out. It's great.
So we gave her that in the beginning, and the darkness. You know, her behavior was chewing her nails and spitting it out and just behaving so grossly because she wanted to that kind of attention. And underneath everything was that little white camisole that showed this poor, fragile person who really wanted to be pretty and really wanted to be accepted that way. And that's how we were able to reveal her character.
I think Ali Sheedy's character definitely sells out. I never got the impression that her, you know, black stuff on her eyes, as Claire calls it, or her clothing or her tousled hair, I never got the impression that those were affectations. You know, I thought that was genuinely her.
Why? Claire did it.
I guess Allison should feel entitled to try on that persona if she wants to. But having been a very weird, sort of black eyeliner wearing, weird landscape drawing chick in high school, you know, I felt slightly betrayed.
You know, you really do look a lot better without all that black shit in your eyes. Hey, I like that black shit.
Yeah, I fall in the sellout camp. I do. I definitely do. She plays such an odd, individualistic kind of character, and then she becomes more conventional to me. But I never had a problem with it. I just thought it was another thing to talk about in relation to the movie. Whether what she does is considered a sellout or not, it actually seemed pretty real.
She didn't. She let Molly do something for her. That's what it really is about. And she even says, again, he was like,
Why are you being so nice to me? Because you're letting me.
Because you let me. It's so honest and so, you know, a real connection. So we don't know if she's selling out. She's just letting Molly clean her up a little bit in that, you know, high school way.
If you felt that was true, that Ali Sheedy sort of betrayed, you know, who she was at the end of the film, I think you could say the same for every single one of them. Because they all go through some kind of evolution, some sort of change. Hers is a little bit more physical. I think it was just about everybody wants to be liked.
She is probably, in fact, maybe alongside my character, probably the most empowered by the day, it seems. I think that the transition, character-wise, is that she feels safe enough to be prettier, you know, and to kind of come out of her shell in a way. That's one of the most beautiful scenes, I think, in the film. And there's also that really nice score, which, again, it just, like, lifts it.
What's wrong?
Nothing's wrong. It's just so different. You know? I can see your face.
Is that good or bad?
It's good.
I did talk to John about it, and my thing was I didn't think that she should be somebody who has a whole bunch of makeup put on her face and then suddenly she's beautiful. So I wanted it to be, if we're going to do it, I wanted it to be that she, because she has all this stuff on her face, so it's white and all this eyeliner, that Molly would be taking it off. So it's kind of like, let's get rid of this mask or what, you know, this thing that you've been playing, and this is what you really look like. That works. That's okay. I didn't think I needed to have a pink shirt on all of a sudden. I feel like I could have taken off my sweater and had like some kind of like, you know, guy muscle tee or something, or she didn't have to take off her sweater. I mean, it was enough, you know, just like stop hiding behind your hair, and you know, I felt like it went a little bit over the top. I remember him and Tom Del Ruth, who shot it, talking about how to do it really simply so it wasn't this sort of glamour sequence, and I think that all in all they did really well with it.
I am the eyes and ears of this institution, my friends. By the way, that clock's 20 minutes fast.
The one thing that people have come up to me since, and I don't know whether you know this, but people are doing The Breakfast Club as a high school play now. I mean, it's been transcribed and kids are doing it in school, so I'm meeting kids that came up and played Carl. You know, I played Carl, I didn't realize how hard a role it was, you know. I said, there are no small parts, just small actors.
I like the janitor is sort of this very quick-witted character. I think he describes himself as a serf or a peon, which are not words you expect to hear out of the janitor's mouth. And you get the sense that, you know, this guy was maybe the wise ass once upon a time, and now here he is, and these kids are daring to condescend to him. It's really cool. Another tour de force role.
And that's a great and a very important role in that film, I think, because what he does is he kind of brings, you know, Gleason's character to light for himself.
You took a teaching position because you thought it'd be fun, right? Thought you could have summer vacations off? And then you found out it was actually work. That really bummed you out.
Tráilers. Visita mi canal.
He just kind of shows him himself in a way, you know, and here I am, the janitor, and you perceive yourself as some, you know, tough-ass teacher who's doing what he's in fact just doing. It's just monitoring kids on the weekend, you know. So I remember that scene particularly because he was so good in that scene. He and Paul were great together.
I was kind of working on the premise in my head that this is a teacher that I might have had. Now that I'm the janitor, he likes to lord it over me.
Now, this is the thought that wakes me up in the middle of the night. That when I get older, these kids are going to take care of me. I wouldn't count on it.
I slept in the janitor's office at the school and rarely associated with the cast, if ever. And I think John wanted to keep me away from the cast. And that sort of worked with the sort of isolation I had in dealing with them. And when I came into that set with all that paraphernalia, the first scene I shot in Breakfast Club was unloading the garbage and, you know, by the way, that clock's 20 minutes fast. That whole segment. I hadn't really met with the guys. I hadn't really known the cast. So there was this sort of sense of detachment and not being part of their group.
You guys think I'm just some untouchable peasant, serf, peon, you know? Maybe so. But following a broom around after shitheads like you for the last 8 years, I've learned a couple of things. I looked through your letters, looked through your lockers. I listened to your conversations. You don't know that, but I do.
Carl the janitor resents the kids, but he does get them. He nails them. You know, he really puts it to them, you know, verbally, in a way that the principal can't.
Well, you know, there's this arrogance to teens, right? That anybody over 18 is just a jerk and, you know, has fallen off the earth in terms of their worldview. And, you know, it's just not true. And somebody's got to hip him to that.
And he had that strange expression on his face, you know, like he knew better than us. It's unsettling. You know, when you think you know better than them, and he's true when he says how we perceive him, though my character not so much, because I do see him all the time. And he says that thing, Hughes again, that thing where he goes, and I've been through your lockers. I got the keys to all your lockers. And it's like, wait, oh, and it's like, it's great. It's like, okay, so now that I know that Carl's going through my shit, okay.
When I got the part, I remember thinking about the janitors that were in my high school. And there was this one guy that was, I would say, all-seeing. And when John had that line, you know, I read your notes, I'm the eyes and ears of this institution, I really pegged onto that one because I really got the feeling that these guys knew a lot more about us than we cared to let on. People to this day don't realize that there's a shot of me at the beginning of the movie in the case, and that I actually went to that high school. John and I talked about that, and then my whole subtext was maybe I was a little bit of those guys there. So the fact that I could relate to those kids as sort of having left the womb 10 years prior is, I think, an important fix on it.
Because, you know, I'm really paired up with Carl. You know, you know, as we walk out, I love that. It's like, see you Saturday, Carl. Yes, I mean, I see him. I'm there as much as he is. I mean, I haven't had a Saturday off in years.
See you next Saturday. You bet. Dick, Excuse me, Rich, will milk be made available to us?
Well, well, here we are.
What's going on in there? Hugga-lugga! Right. Why is that door closed?
Pricks.
John Hughes was not particularly charitable to public educators. Paul Gleason's character in The Breakfast Club is the principal who has not a leisure suit, but the 80s version.
Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
One good thing about that character is that it's clear that he's in detention too.